I'm fully prepared with everything I need for the Jay-Z documentary. The moment he sent that legal letter, I knew I had to let the world see who he really is. He and Diddy are cut from the same cloth. He just hides his arrogance and control behind a cleaner image. Our feud has lasted 20 years, and I know better than anyone what he's done in the shadows. I even suspect that so-called funeral bouquet wasn't Diddy's idea at all, but Jay-Z acting on his behalf. Back when Nicki Minaj posted that video of him wearing a pink wig, all I did was repost it, and he got so nervous he had his lawyers threaten me. In 2015, Nicki worked her ass off helping him build his platform, and he allegedly pocketed her $7.9 million in royalties. And then there's his fingerprints all over key incidents through the years, whether it's the elevator footage or the guest list at Diddy's parties. He was involved, clearly, but somehow he always walks away untouched. That's what he's best at, pulling strings behind the scenes while pretending to be spotless in public. And now that a corner of the darkness has been ripped open, I'm not stopping. Everything my team and I are doing isn't about attacking anyone. It's about making sure the truth can't be buried by him ever again.
He ain't answering the phone? He ain't answering the motherfucking phone.
Yeah, it's like this, like
we had a black billionaire's lunch.
Black excellence. They're sitting there like, yeah. It's a billionaire brunch. Like,
I hate you, man.
And we here together, and we gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter.
Unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you this year. Yo, I feel like I'm normal again. Get me out of here.
Jay-Z is facing mounting scrutiny after reports emerged claiming that private communications between him and Diddy have come to light, triggering a wave of online reaction. The situation has thrust Jay-Z back into an uneasy spotlight, reviving long-standing speculation about his ties to Diddy and prompting renewed examination of past associations. As these alleged exchanges spread across public discourse, earlier allegations are resurfacing, fueling a rapid shift in public perception. The momentum continues to build, forming a growing controversy that could test Jay-Z's reputation, influence, and enduring legacy.
Carter aided and abetted or was directly involved. It's about to get real tense, and there's a lot of girls and boys who are still trapped inside.
In previous interviews, 50 Cent has emphasized that he deliberately kept himself out of Diddy's inner circle, saying certain invitations and settings immediately set off alarm bells and prompted him to pull back early. He has explained that maintaining that distance is what gives him the freedom to speak candidly today. When allegations later surfaced, 50 said he learned about them the same way everyone else did, through the media. While acknowledging the gravity of the claims, he noted that they aligned with concerns he had observed years earlier, rather than coming as a surprise.
Explained that Jay-Z is worse than Diddy. She explained how Jay-Z has done worse things than what Diddy did to Cassie to other females. And she said that she has the scars to prove it. She alleged that at one time Jay-Z attacked her and got it on film like Diddy did. And she alleged that this is why Jay-Z is totally pulling away from Diddy and you don't see him around. And it's been alleged for quite a while that Jay-Z is pulling away from Diddy because he doesn't want himself caught in the crossfire. I mean, you even have 50 Cent at this point talking about how Jay-Z is in hiding while this whole Diddy thing blows over. And you even have these accusations of Jay-Z being responsible for what happened to Cassie White. So I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this clip of everything that Jag had to say about Jay-Z being worse than Diddy, and you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. You want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing. I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. And they're going to be crazy. It's going to be the women that get them in the end.
As the investigation widened, attention slowly began to turn toward Jay-Z, with critics increasingly scrutinizing his silence as the controversy surrounding Diddy escalated. That restrained approach only deepened suspicion, with some speculating that his team may have sensed early signs of his name entering civil discussions and moved swiftly to manage public perception. Others warned that even in the absence of formal charges, reputational harm was already unfolding, as social media propelled unverified claims and magnified speculation, turning uncertainty into swift, hard-to-contain consequences.
Exactly what Jay-Z's accuser is saying, that even though she dropped the lawsuit, she still stands by what she says, and she only dropped it because of harassment and the fact that she's terrified of Jay-Z. She says that Jay-Z is allegedly bullying her into saying that her accusations were false. In fact, in new legal documents, she is claiming that she was recently approached outside of her home and cornered by two people who told her they were investigators working for one of Jay-Z's lawyers. She claims they tried to get her to sign an affidavit stating that her claims against Jay-Z were false, but she refused. Jane Doe also claims the alleged investigators asked her if her attorney, Tony Busby, sought her out as a client and offered her money to pursue false claims against Jay-Z, two allegations she says she denied. He says this alleged confrontation left her intimidated and terrified, wondering how they found her when her identity had remained anonymous in media reports and legal proceedings. He also claims that her parents were approached by two investigators asking similar questions about Busby and her story. In the new documents, she reveals she decided to drop the claim because she was frightened by the reaction from Jay-Z and his supporters. He says she feared she would be publicly outed and
Industry insiders cautioned that a single criminal investigation could ripple far beyond one individual, putting anyone seen as part of his inner circle at risk. That belief is why many view 50 Cent's documentary as especially significant. Instead of centering on one person, it aims to explore how power functioned behind closed doors, who may have been aware of troubling behavior, and how accountability can widen once serious scrutiny begins. Analysts have also questioned how Diddy remained insulated for so long, with some pointing to strategic alliances and tight control over public narratives as rumors quietly persisted. Adding to the tension, later reports suggested he may be cooperating with authorities to strengthen his position, a development that, according to unverified claims, could include sharing information about others in his orbit, intensifying unease and raising the stakes across the entire industry.
He starts snitching.
He better. But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White. See, I know you know what happened to Corey. Diddy, I know that. You and Jay-Z. Down in Vegas at Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Kathy? That might help. That might help a lot. Kathy Coriana White, Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died 24 hours after she announced that she was going public with their relationship and the baby. While he was married to Beyonce. Was it an aneurysm, Diddy? Or are you the one who paid the same coroner that you... Oh.
With the documentary now officially released, one thing is evident: this is not a story confined to the past. It is actively shaping what comes next. Each new revelation intensifies scrutiny of those who stayed silent, and Jay-Z is being pulled closer to the center of that focus. The attention is especially sharp given his decades-long history with Diddy, making assertions of distance more difficult for critics to accept. Tensions escalated further when Gene Deal publicly disputed claims from Jay-Z's legal team that downplayed their relationship, arguing that such statements conflicted with what many insiders had long witnessed. As more voices emerge and timelines are dissected, the pressure continues to mount, transforming once muted connections into lingering questions that refuse to disappear.
They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball, they wasn't playing baseball, they wasn't playing football, and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is, and you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, ass. I got to go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me. When they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pac is 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I didn't know you had an issue with him.
I'm never...
From Gene's point of view, the comfort and ease between Jay-Z and Diddy spoke louder than any public statement. He referenced an Atlanta performance where Diddy invited Jay-Z on stage, noting that their natural chemistry was unmistakable to the audience. That moment later resurfaced after 50 Cent drew attention to it, keeping the clip in steady online circulation. When asked whether his comments were driven by personal resentment toward Jay-Z, Gene rejected that notion outright, saying it had nothing to do with loyalty or bias. Instead, he recalled an earlier confrontation that once carried real tension, only for Jay-Z to appear to move on from it with ease. Gene suggested this was a familiar pattern among those at the highest levels. People who move through intense conflicts, create friction, and then carry on untouched, operating in a rarefied space far removed from the consequences most others face.
They'll cause situations and cause problems, and then they'll forget what they done because they on a whole nother atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit that he did, you got to understand, like now he'll say that they're kids because he's raising kids of his own. You understand? But how would you like it that if Blue Ivory, 15, 16 years old, 17, 18 years old, dating a in his early 30s? You're not going to go for that. No matter what she came through in Hollywood. But you got to understand, guys who was around there, we didn't know Jay-Z them ages. We didn't know these cats' age. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't having no beards and nothing like that. They was wearing low cuts. You understand? Clean face. I would have never believed when Jay was coming around the block, scooping up the young girls and stuff like that he was 30 years old. If they 17, 18, 16 years old and they 22, you thinking they 22, 23, something like that, 24 years old? They mama and them need to check them. They daddy and them need to check them. But that's not that far off. But for somebody to be 30 years old in their 30s and they dealing with kids 16 years old, 17, 18 years, now that's a problem. That's an issue. And now he see that because he's raising kids. And he got a young daughter. I think he got another daughter that he didn't claim and now he claiming them. These cats was doing a whole lot of stuff that people in the industry won't speak on. And then now that you're speaking on it and it's becoming where is that you can get on YouTube and you could talk about this shit and say what you seen or say what you heard, you understand, or what you know. Some people look at it being a problem. But these cats ain't street cats.
Dame Dash, once Jay-Z's closest collaborator, recently addressed the serious allegations now surrounding him, saying what struck him most was not just the claims themselves but the intensity of the public response. Dame noted that in all his years, he had never seen Jay-Z face this level of scrutiny, as decades of power and influence had long positioned him as largely untouchable, especially within mainstream media. He suggested that perception is now shifting, with that protective shield beginning to fracture and exposing Jay-Z to a level of public examination rarely aimed at figures of his stature, signaling a broader change in how even the most powerful names are confronted once attention reaches a critical mass.
In that, getting looked at in that way by white people, like Jay does, yeah, like I hope that shit didn't happen, but I'm like, damn, they turned the world real, like people on a certain level have been fucking with him a certain way where he couldn't do no wrong for like 25 years straight. This is the first time he's not getting a pass with white media, like he can control black media because a lot of them either work or do business with him, but ring champs can't get him out of this one, and neither can Charlemagne, because those are the guys that hold him down no matter what he does anyway. So he got to get to People Magazine and Entertainment Tonight right now because they on his head. But the question is why? Like, why now? Because for me, I'd be like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Yo, take that to trial. She's not going to win. Let's get a deposition or something. So I don't know why they on his head so much. Pause. But I never seen him, under this, I never seen him in this position to have to explain himself. Pause.
How you feel about the statement he came out with?
I mean, I didn't hear him say anything. I heard a piece of, like I said, I'm doing an interview, so I talk. I thought it was long. For a statement, I thought it was long, pause. But, I think right now, his silence is the worst thing for him. If he is innocent, he needs to let people ask him questions, and he needs to be able to say his side of the story.
What surprised Dame most was seeing Jay-Z in unfamiliar territory, guarded, reactive, and facing sustained pressure, a position he has occupied only a few times throughout his career. For decades, Jay-Z moved without needing to publicly explain or defend himself, making the current level of scrutiny particularly striking. At the same time, questions persist about why 50 Cent appears so intent on challenging him, suggesting that the Diddy connection alone doesn't fully explain the tension. Tony Yayo added context, noting that friction between 50 and Jay-Z has existed for years, rooted in rivalry and lingering questions of loyalty. Hip-hop has always been driven by competition, where egos collide and conflicts surface, even as growth remains part of the process. Yayo pointed to a recent performance where 50 shared the stage with Dr. Dre, with Cameron also appearing, a moment that showed past disputes being put aside. Cameron later remarked that Jay-Z prioritizes business over culture, a view Yayo echoed, observing that Jay-Z frequently appears at elite corporate gatherings while often missing hip-hop moments that carry deeper meaning for artists like 50. This contrast continues to shape perceptions, keeping questions about priorities and allegiance.
It said that he didn't know Puff at all or wasn't his friend. I thought that was a little extreme. I thought that was the wrong choice of words. I think that's going to trigger a lot of backlash. But the thing is, I never seen him get backlash at all. So that's what I'm saying. Now he getting backlash. Like, when did you know Jay-Z to be on his heels other than when he got beat up in the elevator? But that was nothing. But I've never seen him under the fire ever. Not in a long time. Not like, I've never seen people on his head like that, Paul. Ever.
Yeah, this might be my first time seeing people come at him like this.
Like I said, I didn't hear him say anything. Like, I'm not some white man speaking for another black man doesn't add up. It just doesn't work like that. Like, he doesn't know what to say on Jay's behalf. Jay would have to say that. So if he instructed him to say that, like, you don't even know if Jay told him to say that. He could have got off the stage and they was like, why'd you say that? He was like, I had to. You know, like, he probably said it because homeboy wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Like, I didn't hear him say anything. I haven't heard Jay say a word yet. Have you?
Nah, I haven't heard him say anything.
There it is. So y'all going by a piece of paper with words, don't get caught up in that. I have not heard him say one thing yet. You know? Until I see him speak, he hasn't spoke to me. That's why I said I don't think he did not say that. His lawyer said it. So what else is a lawyer?
Yo underscored a sharp contrast in how Jay-Z and 50 Cent carry their influence. Jay-Z, he said, moves within the highest circles of power, maintaining a clear sense of distance, while 50, despite being just as impactful, stays visible, connected, and loyal to the people who supported his rise. Yo emphasized that real stature comes from honoring those roots, not separating from them. He pointed to a moment that stayed with him from the Super Bowl halftime show, recalling reports that Jay-Z initially pushed back against including 50 in the lineup. According to Yo, it was Eminem who ultimately drew a hard line, refusing to perform unless 50 was included, forcing a shift in the decision. To Yo, that situation went beyond strategy or public optics, carrying a personal edge that reflected long.
One part where 50 was talking, and he was saying, yeah, when Yayo was locked up, every G Unit show, we actually put aside the money.
Bro, I told
for him, and he had like a, he's like, Yayo had like $1 million.
Right. I just told you when I came out of my building, I see the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
There was no way I was getting shot there. And this is what I kind of tell you is like, when we was talking about stacks with the Porsche, 50's not going to let you say, get the Porsche. He going to say, let's get him out the hood first. You know, if the money's there, but the money has to be there for you to live like that. The money's there. 50 didn't have to do that. Rest in peace to Hervé from Interscope, because he always said to me, man, 50 do more for you than any artist, than anybody does for their art.
Over time, insiders have suggested that the once solid relationship between Jay-Z and Diddy began to fracture, marked by diminishing trust and growing uncertainty over who would ultimately act in their own self-interest if circumstances turned unfavorable. Some have gone further, alleging that Jay-Z may have played a discreet behind-the-scenes role in Diddy's recent setbacks, an accusation publicly voiced by Jaguar Wright but never substantiated. Regardless of its accuracy, the speculation highlights a stark reality at the highest levels of power. Alliances are often conditional. Loyalty can be tenuous, and influence can shift quickly, turning long-standing partnerships into calculated standoffs with little warning.
Yeah.
He made a statement recently. He said that Jay-Z loves money more than hip-hop. And he pointed out that Jay-Z performed at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame ceremony, but he didn't perform in any Hip-Hop 50 events.
I mean, Jay-Z's on a whole nother level. Like, I mean, you know, he's like, but you know what I like about 50? 50's on a whole nother level, but he's still approachable. You still get to meet the people and you know, Jay got to remember the people that made him. You know, I'm not saying I don't got respect. I respect Jay-Z, 50, used to respect, you know, Diddy, but all that crazy shit going on. But, you know, I always respected him because I looked at, for New York, those were like the, you know, the guys. You know what I'm saying? The guys with the most money and the most influence. So with Jay is like, when the last time you haven't seen Jay. So I think people are just going to say that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I mean, Jay, you know, you got to remember, he didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl. That was crazy. I'm like,
wait, Jay didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl?
Know that? Yeah, he didn't want.
I remember Eminem pushed for it.
That was some hater shit. Yeah,
I remember Eminem was like, I'm not going to do it unless 50 does it. I heard that.
Yeah,
but I didn't know that Jay was trying to stop it.
I don't think Jay. I don't know. 50 never told me that, but I don't think Jay wanted him there. I don't know.
Because of what, some of the.
I mean, you know, it's competition. You got to think. 50 always been competition for Jay. Remember, I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent?
That was a long time ago.
That was what, 9? What was that? 9?
But after that, they did a song together. Remember the whole,
of course, but 50 was always competition for niggas. Then remember Jay said, yo, 50's coming. He told Siegel and them and Memphis Bleak and all them.
Yeah.
And come on, 50's like, he's on a whole nother level. You got to remember, he came after niggas. He came after Jay and Rockefeller. G-Unit came, and people might shit on G-Unit, but with Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, nobody has.
Roger Bonds, Diddy's former head of security, provided an insider perspective that complicates the prevailing narrative. He noted that while he frequently saw Jay-Z and Diddy cross paths and interact, he never viewed their relationship as genuinely close. According to Roger, Diddy appeared to overestimate the strength of the connection, exposing a gap between perception and reality. His account underscores how, at the highest levels of influence, surface-level familiarity can be mistaken for loyalty, and carefully curated appearances often conceal far greater distance than the public realizes. Other insiders from Diddy's camp have echoed similar observations, pointing to a clear imbalance in the relationship. They noted that Diddy consistently made efforts to support Jay-Z in ways that were rarely reciprocated. Behind the scenes, this pattern suggested uneven loyalty. One-sided effort flowing strongly in Diddy's direction, while reciprocity remained limited. The insight highlights how alliances at the top can look solid externally yet privately reveal a lopsided dynamic, where commitment is assumed but not equally shared.
He goes into boardrooms and says to people, which I will never say, is he says, it's important for me to be a billionaire, because black people need to be billionaires. And why does specifically he, at that time, I've had this conversation with white money people when they go, it's important that Jay-Z becomes a billionaire. And I go, why? And they said, because he wants to open up a casino. He wants to open up this. He should have an alcoholic brand. He needs to have a casino. He needs to have this. And you're like, why the fuck does anybody need a casino? Like another fucking casino
money
in this world.
And it makes it very possible for people to launder money all day.
Yeah. So like, why, even the fact that you want to become so powerful, then you're not saying because he needs to build schools for black people in black neighborhoods. It's because he wanted to build casinos for black people.
For them to keep wasting their money, and then for him to keep getting them overpriced merchandise. It's a rat trap.
Yes.
All of it is. The sad part is that hip-hop has now turned itself over to this greed machine and doesn't realize.
From this perspective, Jay-Z and Diddy were never connected by the kind of deep loyalty the public often assumed. They operated in the same elite circles, sharing success, access, and influence, but without a truly solid foundation. Over time, the absence of genuine allegiance became increasingly evident, and the subtle distance beneath the surface grew harder to ignore. Now, with events playing out publicly, those long-concealed cracks are impossible to overlook, raising the question of whether this widening divide will continue to expand and ultimately impact both of them. What's your take? Share your thoughts